Welcome to Spirit Talks, because your spirit talks to you. Hello and welcome to Spirit Talks. I'm Susie Beiler.
And I'm Maximilliam Haver.
Today's Spirit Talk topic is channeling and mediumship.
Thanks for joining us and enjoy.
So Max, I have a lot of people that think that I'm a medium because I channel. And I was wondering if you could shed some light on this and share with us how these two things are different.
Well, it's pretty straightforward. Channeling is simply feeling energy that's in your field or your body or however the energy is expressed, and then you translate that into words. And this energy tends to be energy that's connecting to another source or another being, and it's being connected to your energy field. And so it's this additional information or insight or perspective that you can draw upon for information. And then you translate into English, and you can verbally speak it or just use it for yourself or however. Mediumship is actually where you step aside with your conscious mind and you allow the energy to actually embody into your body temporarily. And it can, it can express itself, it can speak, it can, use your vocabulary, it can use your body language. And it's simply a state of allowing that energy to be in a very direct expression. But with that, you're not as present with what's coming through, and so you're not integrating all the information in the same manner. But it tends to be a more direct form of the energy's expression. So
is it like being taken over by the energy?
In a way, but you're voluntarily allowing it to do so. So it's a very conscious intention that you feel this energy, you're connecting with it, and then you have to step aside in order to allow it to come through. Do you want to share how you do channeling? How
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, I'm very much part of the equation, and I'm very present with the information and the energies that are coming through. And I have to be, because what I'm doing is I'm feeling this magnificent, amazing energy, and I'm feeling the nuances of it. And in that, I have to figure out what words to put with what I'm feeling to explain what's coming through for people. And so I'm very present in that. And yes, my mind and my brain do have to work. I don't feel taken over. In fact, a lot of time after channeling sessions with clients, they're like, do you remember what came through? And I do remember some details. If there's a lot that comes through, I don't always remember everything because it's a lot. And the other thing I experience is when I do feel that energy, it's an opportunity for me to integrate more love and light energy. Because in Channeling Prime Creator, he's described, this is what I am, the energies of the highest frequencies of love and light. And so I get that opportunity to integrate what's coming through. And so it can be very powerful, for me as an experience. It can be very powerful, even if I'm bringing something through for someone else. So I don't ever feel like I'm taken over, and I can always stop it if I would ever need to for some reason. I have control in that way. But part of what I do is I relinquish that control, because in order for me to be pure and clear, I can't have any of my judgments or filters in the way. So there are times when things come through that I'm like, whoa, that was interesting. I could have never even conceived of something like that. And so it's really important for me to let go of that control and put my own self aside. So even though I'm involved, I'm not involved, if that makes any sense.
So yeah, that is a very good description of channeling. Thank you for that.
Sure.
And how mediumship is different is that a lot of times you'll see mediums that come out of it and they have absolutely no idea what happened.
Mm-hmm.
They'll be kind of bewildered or disoriented
Mm.
because they haven't integrated the energy. That's that lack of resonance with the energy. Some channel or some mediums come out of it and they're very stable and calm, but their perception and experience of it might be something different, that they might have been elsewhere out of body. They might have been experiencing a separate conversation with the energy or being. So there's a lot of different ways that can unfold with that. And people that channel and aren't mediums at all sometimes even then have that lack of memory or integrating or understanding because they were so focused on stepping aside and letting it come through. So it is a particular practice and ability and skill, and it varies with each person how well they are able to perform that. Do you have any advice for people that are seeking to get into channeling or to try channeling, how to approach it at first?
I think that's one of my most frequently asked questions, whether the client asks me or Prime Creator. I've gotten that question a lot. I feel in order to have integrity as a channel, it's really, really important to purify yourself. So I've been on, it's been at least 10 years now where I've been on this journey of releasing programs and implants and imprints and all these things and purifying myself and raising my frequencies and, doing all these things that we do on our paths. Not realizing that I was going to step into channeling, but all of that inner work that I did has really served to open up this channel within me. And there were even times I remember on my path where I specifically made that intention for me to be a channel of love and light, and for that channel to expand and widen within my being. And so I think it's really important, if anyone wants to do this, to purify yourself as much as possible. And it's almost got to be like it's a calling, You can't do it like for money or fame or whatever. I don't know. Whatever motivates, it has to be from that pure motivation, like you feel called to do this. That's my opinion on it.
And is there any advice for discernment of the source of energy that you're channeling, as far as entities or beings or source?
Sure. Yeah. For me, it's always been, I only allow the clearest, purest energies to come through me. And perhaps that's why Prime Creator chose me as a channel, because I don't channel just anything or anyone. And I know people that do, and that's not to say that they're not pure. It's no judgment against them or anything like that. But for me, I just know I want to keep it as pure as possible. So there is discernment that is important. You can choose to channel whatever entity you want. You just have to know what you're getting into. So for me, it's just easier to blanket statements say, I'm only channeling the purest, clearest, energies for the highest good, and keep it at that. And that formula has worked for me.
And so Prime Creator is the base energy of love and light, is what has come through the channeling. Is that how that energy describes itself as energy, but not as a being? There are a lot of beings out there that are channeled, and I think they're like, what I think some people might not entirely hold in their awareness is that each being is on their path. Each being has their limitations. Each being has their perception and projection and the laws they operate by and issues they're still working through and all these things. And so even if 100% what you're getting to is exactly what's being conveyed, isn't necessarily entirely always for the highest and best, or it isn't always entirely for, for what serves. So that's to be aware of, that on both ends, both the energy being channeled and the channeler. That's the other thing, is that even if someone is channeling the highest and best and purest energies, it has to go through their energy field first,
Right.
before it can get translated
Right.
into words.
That's why the purification process is so important.
Right. And
Yeah.
so even if the exact perfect information comes through, it then has to go through the energy channel before they're even aware of what the energy is. And so
Yeah.
if their energy field isn't clear, the information coming through will be only a certain proportion of what was actually supposed to be.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and so for those of us who engage in receiving the channeling, it's important for us to have discernment on that end as well. It's important, to have a sense of the person channeling. Are they, how do they live their life? Are they someone who projects? Are they able to withhold their filters and judgments? And, I'm not perfect by any means, but I do my best, and I do believe it is because of the inner work that I've done, that I am able to be pure to a larger degree.
now I've watched a large amount of channels on YouTube, and read a lot of channel material and mediums as well, and I've found that there are certain narratives of conflict that people tend to project within certain channels. So, you'll hear about galactic confrontation with different races and all these things, but is that really relevant? Is that really what is for the highest and best, or is it someone simply projecting? So these are things to look at whenever you're listening to channels. Is, are they engaged in this narrative of all these things depending on other things, or are they channeling one thing on behalf of another thing? So it's like looking at how indirect, or how this energy is redirecting, as to how clear it is. And so these are things to look at for clarity for your own discernment, and then also feeling the information and how it resonates with you or how it doesn't. So even if the information is totally clear and it's not for you, it won't resonate.
Right.
And so these are things to be aware of. Like,
yeah, this is good stuff.
Yeah. So if the information's convoluted or deceptive or all these things, to how to work through discerning that, and then if it is clear, if it is even for you.
Right.
So yeah, all good things to be aware of when engaging in channeling as a channeler, or as one receiving assistance from someone channeling. Is there any other advice you'd have for people seeking information or advice from other channelers?
Well, the discernment is really important, and not just the discernment about the information coming through, but also the discernment about the person channeling. You either resonate with a person or you don't, and so I think it is important to have some degree of resonance so that you can receive the information. And it can be a challenge, if you don't know the person personally, to know if they live their life in integrity or not, but you generally can get a sense about a person and their integrity and how they live. And, if they are bringing information that you're wanting to be of assistance to you, then it is nice to have someone who is of integrity.
And another thing is that if you sense someone isn't 100%, or you sense, that it's not resonating with you or any of these things, but there's still information that comes to you that is useful for you, that you wish to use, that you feel resonates with you or feel is on your path, use just whatever little bit, because this can be through channeling, this can be through synchronicity, this can be through anything. It can be a random comment you hear. If it comes to you along your path and it resonates with you, go forward with it and make use of that on your path for growth and for expansion and for all those things. Yeah. So
absolutely.
So don't whenever you sense this thing, don't throw out everything.
Right.
Just take what's for you and leave the rest.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Well, I would like to invite those of you who are mediums or channels to comment on this, to let us know your experience of being a medium or a channel, to let us know, how it feels for you, and what your experience of it is. Write some comments in the comment section so that we can all get a deeper understanding of channeling and mediumship.
And is there any other advice as far as seeking channeling versus your own inner wisdom?
That's a really good question. In my experience, channeling can assist someone in connecting to their own inner wisdom, and once they get the feeling of that, or once they get the hang of it, then they don't need the channel as much. And that is always my intention with any of my clients, is that they are able to access their own inner wisdom so that they don't need the channeling to assist them. I'm all about empowerment. So we all have that ability in us to connect with our own inner wisdom. And if it's not something we've practiced, it can be nice to have someone who can connect for us. But just being in the energy sometimes is enough. It's like, oh yeah, I can trust these intuitions and these feelings that I've been having. It's great to have that validation from Prime Creator that I'm on the right track, but yeah, I can trust my intuitions. And a lot of people have been experiencing that lately. They have an intuition and knowing about something, but they're just not sure. And so when they get the validation from Prime Creator, it's like, oh yeah, I'm on the right track. And that's all they need. And they don't need another session, because they value and then begin to trust what's been coming through them. So it's pretty neat.
So seeking help through channeling is sort of the training wheels, if you will.
There you go.
To understanding, what parts of that intuition for yourself are coming through, and then I guess understanding what that inner wisdom is. It's that heart knowing, it's that soul guidance, it's that higher self, it's that direct higher aspects of yourself coming through, and that information, and so connecting with that and not being so dependent on the external is the eventual goal.
Yeah.
But understanding that asking for help is a great thing to assist you on your path. And so be open to that when you are on that part of your path, when you're complete with that part, to move forward past that. So
yeah. Perfect. Well, thank you everyone for joining us in this discussion. I do hope you will comment and let us know your experience if you are a channeler or medium, or if you're someone who has received channeling and you want to share your experience, that we'd welcome your comments on that as well. Thanks for joining us.
May you be open to new information from all sources and be able to discern the highest and best upon your path.